Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. Always lovely to spend time with you. Now today I've got a design to share with you which I've made on a card look, but also it actually came from a design that I've popped in my calendar. Now I know not all of you are lucky enough to buy our limited edition calendars, and so today I want to show you how it looks in my calendar, but then I'll be creating it on a card. So again, if you've got your calendar, you can join in. If you want to make a card or pop it in your journal, you can join in. So the design, I took my inspiration. As always, I like to welcome you into my head, show you how it works. It's not a pretty place. I took my inspiration from our beautiful dancing fairies look at the base of the calendar. I can't think what it was called then. Honestly, I think it's an age thing. And so what I wanted to do was I thought of fairies, and I wanted to choose some fairies I haven't used for a while. And I like to do this. It gives me a good reason to hunt through my stamps. Do you have ones at the bottom that you've forgotten about? I certainly do. And I found these beautiful stargazing fairies. And I went for some autumnal colours, but again, you could mix this up. If you're somewhere where you want to use spring colours, use spring colours. So that's the design in my calendar. And I took a measurement and made a piece that I thought would be nice in my journal. And then what I thought today, we'd make a square design so you can see all three. So I'm just going to pop these to the side. Sorry, I'll try not to make you dizzy. Well, I'm actually going to file them on the floor next to Eric. I'm going to put that one there so I can look at it, so it reminds me what I've done. And I'm going to use a piece of card out of my Multifarious multi-pack. So I've got a piece of 7x7 Multifarious cardstock. Again, I'm going to file that on the floor. Get my chair in. And I've just put a black line round the edge to start off with. I thought you don't want to see me doing that, do you? And I'm going to bring in the larger one of the circle masks and my lime punch in the elements and one of the large stencil brushes. And as always, I'm going to take the ink and dab it off on the lid. So good doing this. If you're one of our new followers, what you'll find is it just helps the ink blend. And it saves popping it on your mat or on a piece of copy paper because it'll be there to pick up again. Now we're going to go for the middle-ish. Now what I want to be mindful here is I don't want to go all the way around, so I have to concentrate. I may have to stop talking for a minute because I'm so used to going all the way around, I'm liable to whiz all the way around. And I just want to bring the ink, and I'm flicking it off to start off with to about here. And I'm going to flick it all the way around. And then once I've done that, I'm sort of going to fuzzy the shape. So I'm not putting any more ink on, but I'm just fuzzying those edges so they're not quite as harsh. And then while I'm doing that, I'm just going to come in with my smaller of the moon masks and pop this here. Now, I know you wouldn't get a green sky, but I'm just sort of giving the hint of a bit of a sort of moon-ish, the moon peeping through the foliage. So that's what I'm going for. So just to save you telling me, because I know that. But sometimes I think we have to have a bit of artistic fun, don't we? So I'm just giving these a wipe, because if I don't and I put them away with ink on, the next time I pick them up, I'll have inky fingers and then I'll get ink on my card. So I'm that nice tidy crafter today. Right, we'll pop the lid on. So now let's do some stamping. So I'm going to bring in our lovely stargazer. Now this is one of the first stamps I bought, so it is a very old stamp, and I have to say, when I got it out of my my stamp collection, it was covered in glitter. So I have given it a bit of a clean, but we shall see how they stamp. It's nice to look at some of your older stamps. I think we get so excited when we get new ones. It's nice to just get some of the older ones out. And I'm going to put this straight and just see. Oh, I just want to take a little bit while I remember we've got these lovely pebbles, but I don't want them to be quite as obvious. I want them to sort of try and go into the foliage a little. So I'm just going to wipe a little bit of ink off. And then I'm just going to stamp them there. So while that ink soaks in, because again, the silhouettes, the lovely, lovely silhouette stamps, but we want that ink to soak in. So it gives me a minute to just ask, how are you? How are you doing? I know a couple of you have messaged and said that you watch these after coming in when you've had a bad day. You know, I know sometimes the jobs that, you know, we all do can be so hard, and life can be hard, it can be stressful, and you know, family things can go on and relatives can be unwell, and so it is nice to just either watch or join in and do a little bit of crafting. I think it's good for the soul, I really do, and I think we all need a bit of that just downtime, don't we? A little bit of just, you know, put your feet up, relax. Right, now I think let's lift up and have a look. Lovely, I'm happy with that. And again, can you see where it's a little bit faint where the stones? I'm glad I remembered to take that off. So what we're going to do now is add some of our lovely foliage. And I'm going to use 2 stamps. I've got the maple leaf, which is a large leaf, and also I've got the smaller leaf number 5. And I think that's like, you know, big brother and little sister here. So these are going to work so well together. And I'm going to use my VersaFine Clair, and I'm going to use quite a few colours. I just want to move this out. I'm trying to be good and not bring things across my work. So we've got Pine Cone, we've got Shady Lady, or Shady Lane, as she should be known. And then we're going to move into summertime. And then we're going to come in with Golden Meadow, which is sort of a greeny yellow, so it's fabulous for this. But I'm also going to be bringing in some Verdant, which is that lovely zesty colour. So I'm going to put those in order I'm going to use them, she says. Now, I will warn you now, for those of you that don't like cleaning your stamps, I am going to be cleaning my stamp in between. Because I'm going to start off with my darker colour. I could start off with my lighter colour, but for me, I find it easier to place my stamps if I work this way round. And I'm just taking a little bit of ink off the stem because I don't want the stems, because you see how they would stamp right over my lovely fairies. So I'm after brown there, and then I'm just going to clean my stamp and then come in with my smaller version, and again in the brown, but being mindful of just taking a little bit off. And I think we'll have one there. The long stems are fabulous, but sometimes we don't actually need them, so I'm just working on a bit where I'm just taking a little bit off that stem. And again, I'm going to give that a wipe and then put my brown to one side and come in with the darker green. And again, ink up our large stamp. And you can alter the colours, you can decide. So this, I just want to follow the shape round. So I'm going to go there. And again, have a wipe, pop it to one side. And the smaller stamp with the same green. And we'll pop that there. Again, give it a wipe. And now the summertime. I love this, a nice zesty orange. Ink up, and I'm just going to wipe off. And then just want to alter this slightly to almost follow that shape round. So we'll take that one there. Now I think this would make, if you wanted to make it into an anniversary card, if you want to make it into a wedding card, you know, just alter the colours. If you know what colours the bridesmaids are in, you could add some florals. You know, if you know what the bride's having in her bouquet. And I think that way you could really personalise it. If you make it an anniversary card, and you know what I love to do with anniversaries is actually using the colours that the bridesmaids were in. So I make a note when I've been to a wedding of the colours, and I make the wedding card in those colours, but then I try and make the anniversary cards in the same colours. Right, now this one we just want over this way, just to follow that lovely shape. So this, as I say, is that lovely golden meadow, that sort of greeny yellow. And then the last little one here, just popping out there. So again, we've got this lovely arc. Now, there are bits, as you can see, in the arc that we need to fill in. And I'm going to come in with this lovely stamp from the vine set. On the vine set, there's 4. Now, I could use the flowers. As I say, if this was for a wedding card, the flowers would be fabulous. And in fact, these leaves remind me of hearts, so you could use these as well. But these are great for filling in. And because we're using the verdant, it's the lighter green. So even when I stamp it, look, on top of the brown, it almost pops it to the back. Just remember to turn your stamp though, so don't always have it in the same direction. I think we'll have that just popping out there, and the same here. Just cut the edge of my stamp. I just think one popping out there and there, and then I'm just going to look at the edge and look at the shape, and just if I need, so I think I need a little bit there. I don't want to overcook it, but just to keep this lovely shape, tiny bit there, round, maybe a second generation there. Yeah, I like that, so I'm happy with that shape. And again, you could leave it like that if you wished, but I just want to bring in, we've got a lovely verse stamp, see a fairy make a wish. Now, again, it's with it being a verse, anything with a sentiment, anything with words, script, I always put an arrow on the back just to make sure I don't stamp it upside down. Now, I'm actually going to come in with my lime punch for this. I want to keep it really tonal with what we've got in the background. But with these being quite spongy pads, do make sure you do a nice light touch. Don't press too hard with them. So make sure I get it the right way up. And I want one up here. I'm going to do first generation. And I'm just going to take it sort of there. Yeah, I like that. And you see how that, lovely, you can read it, but it's just a little bit, it's almost not as delicate somehow as the VersaFine Claire. And I just wanted that. So again, light tapping. Make sure I get it the right way up, make sure my arrow's the right way. And again, just take my time getting it straight. I don't want it over the fairies. So I'm thinking here. And it's worth just spending that minute making sure it's straight. There we go. Now I could do a second generation here, but I don't want to. I like that area. So we'll add some colour now. And what I'm going to do is with my little brush, just where the stones are there, look. So I'm going to come in with truffle. And with my little brush, it's a number 3. I'm just going to, I only want a little bit. So taking some off on the lid, look. I just want to gently colour, just sort of ground them a little bit. And again, it's just picking up that ink off the lid. Just, there we go. That's all I need. No more than that. And then we're going to colour the wings. So for this, I'm just going to be good and lean on a piece of kitchen towel because I don't want to smudge the area I've just stamped. So we've got lovely detail on the wings, look. So I'm going to go around the edges first with, and this is the metallic Posca. No, it's not. It's the Signo. I lie, and it's the green. So it's And then I'm going to come in with the Kuretake, the clean colour. I love these. And I know you need to know the name. So this is number 37 and it's cornflower blue. Don't know what's wrong with me today. I keep forgetting things. And for those of you who've just shouted, yes, it's a sign of old age. Thank you. It probably is. But isn't it funny how you can forget such a simple word like a pen name or a stamp name or... So I'm doing this next because I want the vibrancy of that colour, the lovely blue. I wanted a contrast, and then I want to come in with this lovely gel pen, and this is the metallic one, and it will actually go over the clean colour if I need to. And for me, I found this was just the best way round to get that lovely detail. Funny enough, the wings, I was going to do them in orange to match. And then I thought, no, I think we need a bit of contrast. So what we're going to do now is come in with our Van Gogh, our lovely pastel pencils. And just with the white one here, I'm just going to come in and add a little bit of, where we've got the moon look, we'll have a little bit of highlight. I don't want to go over the top. So just the shoulder here, and I think across there, again, this shoulder, again, the moon's here, so it'll hit this. And I think we've almost got a top there. And what I can do, look, if I just smudge it, with it being a pastel, if you smudge it, this does two things. It fixes it, but for me, it just makes it look a little bit... not as defined, and I'm not very good. I mean, you can use a gel pen for these highlights, and I know a couple of the design team do. I know Katarina's fabulous with it and Mona, but it just doesn't work for me. And I think you've got to use what you are comfortable with. And for me, the pastel is just more forgiving. I've got to be honest, it's more forgiving. And I really don't want too much. Not gonna, right, stop faffing. Yeah. Now, I want to add some glitter to this. And I'm going to come in. Sorry, excuse me. Oh dear, I thought we'd done ever so well. Sorry. I've had a workshop at the weekend. Obviously done too much talking. Sorry. I do apologise, but I'm afraid my throat's never going to get better. So we have to live with it. So this is lovely. It's called Sea Foam. Now, you know I normally paint my stickles on because it can be a bit rude, it can spit. Well, with this, we're going to do a dot and a dab. And what I'm going to do is just dot it round my lovely semi-garland here. Then I'm going to use my magic finger here and just dab. And this way I can just pop it exactly where I want it. I don't want too much. Just want it mainly in the centre and a little bit popping out. Also, as it spreads it out, it gives it a thinner layer so it'll dry quicker. And then our last finishing trick is going to be our Posca. So I'm going to come in with some yellow Posca. Now again, we've had quite a few messages about the Posca. It does come in two sizes. This is the 1M and this is the 5M. Difference is just the nib. This is a smaller nib and this, look, a larger nib. And to be honest, I do find larger splats with this, smaller splats with this. So I tend to have both, and depending how I feel, depends which one I use. And after white, yellow is my next most used. Posca, acrylic paint, and it will separate in the tube. Doesn't matter how you store the pen. I store mine this way, but you'll find whichever way suits you best. Give it a good shake. Got a ball bearing in, because the acrylic paint, as I say, will separate and it needs to mix. If it looks like water, it means it hasn't mixed well enough. Sometimes it can vary with the temperature. You know what paints are like? They vary depending on the temperature they're stored, temperature of the day. The other thing is the nib is a pump action. If you haven't got enough acrylic paint there, just pump it on your mat and the acrylic paint will come flooding down. If it does and you end up with some on your mat, don't waste that paint. You can paint with it. Get your little brush and actually paint it, or even get your brush in it and dab your dots on, your splatters on. That's another way of doing it. If you really can't manage the Posca, you can pump some on your mat, pick it up in your fan brush and do as you would to get your splats. So lots of ways of using them. The main thing for me is you don't need anything, don't use anything metal, just use the end of your brush, lovely little sweet spot here. Don't hold it too far away, you can direct it. So I want some Posca here, so I'm just going to direct, look, I'm quite near, and I'm directing that Posca exactly where I want it here. And if I lift that up, can you see those lovely fine Posca splats? And if I turn this round, I'm going to work my way around. So I want some here now. So I'm going to get them exactly where I want them, look. Turn it round a bit more. And I'm almost protecting. I could cover my fairies up, but I'm hoping that they'll be protected just because I'm aiming my Posca away from them. Last little bit. Turn it round once more, and we want some here. So just up there in that line. And then if I lift that up and show you, so can you see I've just avoided this area, and I mean I could have masked them off, but just by carefully moving my work round, I've carefully got that Posca, those lovely splats, exactly where we want it, look. And I'm going to leave that without a sentiment because I think that would be lovely, as I say, for so many different occasions. But it just shows you the difference, how one design can look so different. So if I bring in a piece of, so that would be an 8 by 8 if this was going on. I know you like to have no sizes. So if that was going on an 8 by 8 card blank, that would be how that would look. And then we've also got one that we could put in our journal or put on, is it a 5 by 7 or a 10 by 7? You know the one I mean, the larger card blank. And then we've also got our calendar. So you can alter your design just slightly, just by altering little bits. You can make it fit whether it's going to be on that card, in your journal or on your calendar. So thank you very much for joining me. And I hope we all enjoy some lovely stargazing in September. A big hug to anybody who needs it. Honestly, remember, you're loved. Nice hug. Just relax. Take care and pop back again soon. Bye for now.